Welcome to Wisdom and Wealth, where we explore timeless principles for a richer, more fulfilling life. Most people aren't defeated by life itself, they're often held back by the narratives their own minds constantly whisper. Take a moment to really think about it. Are you actively leading your mind, or is your mind unwittingly leading you down paths that aren't truly yours? If you don't take deliberate control to guide it, the world, with all its noise and pressures, will happily shape it for you, often in ways that don't serve your best interests. Now, before we dive into the core of this video, if you're resonating with this message already, please give us a like and consider subscribing. This helps us bring more empowering content to you and others on this journey. What if I told you that the inner chaos you experience, the anxiety that sometimes feels overwhelming, the persistent stress, and that seemingly endless cycle of thoughts spinning in your head day and night, isn't something being forcibly imposed upon you from the outside? Instead, it's often something you're subtly allowing, even reinforcing, every single day. With every thought you choose to hold on to, you are making a conscious choice, unknowingly nurturing that state of unrest. The Buddha once wisely said, "Peace comes from within, do not seek it without." And yet, here you might find yourself, relentlessly searching for peace in external validations, in achievements, in the fleeting approval of others, and in the often deafening noise of the external world. Somewhere along the line, you may have forgotten that true, lasting peace was always readily available within you, patiently waiting to be discovered. Right now, you might feel caught in a relentless cycle, chasing after external success, seeking fulfilling relationships, craving admiration and recognition, falsely believing that any of these will finally bring you that elusive rest and tranquility you so desperately desire. But the faster you chase after these external things, the further true peace seems to drift away. Isn't that often the case? But there is indeed a way out of this cycle, a way to quiet that turbulent mind storm and finally find the profound calm that lies beneath the surface. Consider this: your mind is akin to an untamed forest, wild, densely tangled, and often feeling overwhelmingly vast. But what if, instead of feeling lost and overwhelmed, you could walk through that inner forest with clarity, confidence, and unwavering focus? If this resonates with you, please like or subscribe for more content. What if that perceived inner chaos could become your unique strength? What if the stress you've been experiencing could be channeled into unwavering discipline? And what if your past pain could be transformed into an unbreakable power within you? This video will serve as your guide on that journey. Together, we will explore timeless Buddhist wisdom, combining it with practical, actionable disciplines designed to help you reclaim control of your mind and reshape your reality in accordance with your deepest values. If there's one key lesson you take away from this video, let it be this: discipline is the bridge that carries you safely from the turbulent shores of pain to the peaceful landscapes of inner tranquility. You must choose to cross that bridge, and you must stay the course until the very end, because there's a truly powerful bonus lesson waiting for you that could transform the way you see yourself and your life. So, let's begin this transformative journey together. Lesson 1: True peace begins with taming your restless mind. Your mind, in its unmanaged state, is much like a restless monkey, constantly swinging wildly from one thought to the next, dwelling on regrets of the past, conjuring up worries about the future, and entertaining cravings that never seem to find an end. It chatters incessantly throughout the day, filling your head with doubts, irrational fears, and a seemingly endless stream of distractions. But here's a fundamental truth: a mind left undisciplined inevitably becomes its own cage, trapping you in a cycle of anxiety and dissatisfaction. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that the mind is much like a stormy river. When its waters are turbulent and chaotic, all you see is distortion and confusion. But when the river grows calm and still, it reflects the world around it with perfect clarity. Picture yourself standing beside such a river. The current is fierce, the surface is wild and muddy, and the noise is deafening. You look down, hoping to find clarity, but all you see is confusion and churning chaos. That is a vivid representation of the state of an untrained mind, noisy, scattered, and utterly overwhelmed. And yet, when the river's waters eventually settle, its surface becomes clear as glass, mirroring the surrounding landscape with breathtaking precision. Remember, you haven't fundamentally changed the river itself, you've simply allowed it to become still, allowing its true nature to reveal itself. In the very same way, true and lasting peace isn't about trying to change the external world around you, it's about calming the inner storm within. Many people live their entire lives without ever truly questioning their thoughts, automatically believing every fear that arises, blindly following every doubt, and relentlessly chasing every craving that surfaces. Their mind pulls them in 100 different directions at once, and they never realize they're no longer truly living, they're simply reacting to the relentless stream of thoughts and emotions. Have you ever taken the time to sit completely in silence, away from your phone, away from all the external noise, just you and your thoughts? For most people, even those over 40, this can feel almost unbearable. After only a few minutes, the mind rebels, demanding some kind of stimulation to escape its own perceived chaos. Why is this? It's because it has never been taught to be still, to find contentment in its own presence. But understand this, discipline is the bridge between inner chaos and lasting peace. To master your mind, you must first train it to remain present, right here in this very moment, not constantly wandering into the regrets of yesterday or the anxieties of tomorrow. Start with a simple practice: sit quietly, close your eyes, and bring your full attention to your breath. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then leaving your body with warmth. When your thoughts inevitably leap away, gently guide your attention back to your breath, again and again, until your mind learns to listen, until its protests begin to fade, and stillness begins to bloom within you. At first, this will undoubtedly feel uncomfortable. The restless monkey will resist being tamed. But remember, discipline isn't about always choosing what is easy or comfortable, it's about choosing what is fundamentally necessary for your growth and well-being. As you diligently train your mind to return to stillness, distractions will gradually lose their grip over you, irrational fears will no longer command your every move, and overthinking will cease to drown your inner peace. Instead, you will begin to experience a quiet clarity, a deep, focused presence that remains undisturbed by the noise and chaos of the world. Now, as you contemplate this transformative potential, remember to like or subscribe to the Buddhist Doctrine channel to receive daily wisdom. Ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you truly allowed yourself to sit in pure silence, free from any external distractions, allowing yourself to simply be present with your thoughts and feelings? If you cannot readily remember, perhaps today is the perfect day to begin this transformative practice. Discipline your mind, and you will soon discover that peace was never truly far away, it was only patiently waiting for you to come home to yourself. Lesson 2. Embrace impermanence to end your suffering. We tend to spend our lives seeking certainty, desperately hoping that what we love will remain with us forever. We convince ourselves that people we care for won't leave, that success won't fade, and that our bodies will somehow stay young and strong. But the reality is that life is never truly still. Much like the ocean's restless tide, it moves endlessly, constantly reshaping everything it touches. When we stubbornly fight against this fundamental truth of impermanence, we inevitably create our own suffering. Imagine building a delicate sandcastle on the shore. You meticulously craft each tower and wall with utmost care, feeling a sense of pride as it glistens in the sun. For a fleeting moment, it feels like it will stand forever, defying the relentless tide. But then, the tide inevitably begins to rise, and the waves creep closer and closer. A sense of fear grips you as you frantically try to shield your creation, desperate to keep it untouched. Yet, no matter how hard you fight, the ocean always eventually claims it, erasing your sandcastle as if it were never there. This is the way of life, and it mirrors our own human experience. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that attachment is the very root of our suffering. We cling tightly to people, material possessions, and even our own identities, as if these external things somehow define us and give us meaning. We think their perceived permanence gives them inherent value, but the truth is that nothing truly remains the same. Relationships end, careers shift, and even the person you were just a few years ago no longer exists in the same way. And yet, we continue to hold on tightly, terrified of what their potential loss might mean for us. But what if, instead of desperately clinging, you consciously chose to embrace impermanence. Think for a moment about the things you fear losing the most: your job, your youthful appearance, or someone you love deeply. Notice how that inherent fear of loss creates suffering within you, casting a shadow over your present experience. We resist change because we crave control, desperately trying to dictate the course of our lives. But true and lasting peace arises only when we stop grasping and clinging and begin appreciating what is right here, right now. Life, much like the sandcastle, is meant to be built with love, admired with gratitude, and then released with grace when its time comes. The very first step towards inner freedom is to bravely confront your illusions, particularly the deeply ingrained idea that anything in life is truly permanent. This doesn't mean you have to stop loving, caring, or striving for meaningful goals. It simply means you no longer fear change as an enemy, recognizing it as an inevitable and often necessary part of life's journey. Start small. Each day, take a moment to reflect on something you're holding onto too tightly. Is it a painful memory from the past? Is it an unrealistic expectation of how your life should be? Is it a lingering resentment that continues to weigh down your heart? Choose one small attachment each week, and consciously practice letting it go. It could be deleting an old text message you keep revisiting, forgiving someone who never explicitly apologized, or simply accepting that some questions may remain unanswered, embracing the mystery of life. At first, letting go will undoubtedly feel uncomfortable, because your mind falsely believes that clinging to control somehow keeps you safe. But real strength isn't found in stubbornly holding on, it's found in knowing when to release and surrender. When you genuinely embrace impermanence, you lose nothing of true value. Instead, you gain a freedom far greater than the illusion of certainty. You gain the freedom to love without constantly fearing loss, the freedom to try without being paralyzed by the fear of failure, and the freedom to live fully without waiting for life to align perfectly with your expectations. Remember to like or subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth. Ask yourself today, what am I most afraid to lose, and why? Because what you fear losing may be the very chain holding you back from living a truly full and peaceful life. Lesson 3: Your true power emerges when the ego falls silent. The mind possesses immense power, a power that can shape your reality and influence your destiny. Yet, the ego often builds walls that keep that power hidden, buried beneath layers of fear, doubt, and self-limiting beliefs. It whispers insidious doubts into your heart, subtly telling you that you're not ready, that you're too small to dream big, and that you're somehow too weak to rise above your current circumstances. With each passing whisper, the ego's grip tightens, until you begin to unconsciously believe that you are somehow less than what you truly are. But imagine, for a moment, what would happen if you could simply silence that inner voice of limitation. What if, instead of thinking, "This is impossible," you simply and honestly asked yourself, "Why not try?" Buddhist wisdom teaches us that the ego is like an iron cage, trapping your potential and limiting your growth. But if you can break free from that self-imposed cage, you will soar beyond every limit you once imagined. Visualize a bird born with wings wide enough to touch the sky, symbolizing your inherent potential. Yet, this bird is kept inside a small, restrictive cage its entire life. The cage door remains open, yet the bird never steps out, never experiences true freedom. It has slowly forgotten what it feels like to fly, to explore the vastness of the sky. This is precisely what the ego does to us. It builds a cage with our fears and insecurities, and then convinces us that we can never truly fly beyond it. It tells us that our past mistakes define our worth, that it's always better to remain safe within our comfort zone than to risk the potential pain of trying something new. But what is safety without freedom? True freedom begins the moment you stop believing these insidious lies. How often do you say to yourself, "I can't do this. I can't start that new business I've always dreamed of. I can't change my body. I can't transform my life"? Pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, who told you that? Was it your own inner truth, or was it the lingering voice of fear, past failures, and the limiting doubts of others echoing in your mind? What if you consciously chose to live as if those perceived limits simply didn't exist? The truth is that lasting success isn't solely about innate intelligence or sheer luck. It is deeply rooted in the unwavering belief that you are fundamentally capable of achieving your goals. This belief is born from diligently disciplining your mind to reject the illusions of the ego. Try to follow what I call the 100% rule. Commit completely to what you truly desire. Half-hearted efforts inevitably bring half-lived results. When your mind is crowded with doubts and insecurities, you subconsciously sabotage yourself before you even take the first step. But a disciplined mind quietly quiets these fears and moves forward despite them. When you replace the limiting phrase, "I can't," with the empowering declaration, "I will try," something truly powerful begins to unfold. The bars of your self-imposed cage begin to vanish, and where you once saw insurmountable obstacles, you now begin to see open roads and new possibilities. Start by consciously challenging one self-limiting belief each day. When fear whispers to you that you're not ready, prove it wrong by simply beginning, taking that first small step forward. When doubt tells you that you're not good enough, remember that true growth is born from consistent action, not from striving for an unattainable ideal of perfection. Remember to like and subscribe to the Buddhist Doctrine channel so you can continue to learn. The ego is not your true identity, it is merely a loud, often misleading voice, and you always have the choice not to listen. Ask yourself right now, what would I wholeheartedly attempt if I wasn't afraid of failure or judgment? Visualize the new paths that would open up before you, the unshakable confidence you would build, and the fulfilling life you would finally allow yourself to live. Remember, you were never born to remain locked inside a cage of doubt and fear. You were born to spread your wings and fly, to explore the vastness of your potential. So take that first step today. Discipline your mind, silence your ego, and set yourself free to become the person you were always meant to be. Lesson 4, Discipline, the path of balance, not extremes. Discipline is often misunderstood, frequently portrayed as a harsh, unforgiving force that demands relentless self-punishment. It's not about sacrificing your inner peace or pushing yourself to the brink of exhaustion to achieve progress. Yet, many believe there are only two options in life: to relentlessly push themselves to the point of burnout, or to surrender completely to the allure of comfort and complacency. Both of these are traps that inevitably lead to suffering. Burnout leaves you feeling empty, depleted, and devoid of passion, while laziness leaves you unfulfilled, stagnant, and filled with regret. The real key to sustained progress and well-being lies in balance, showing up with steady, consistent effort without self-destructing in the process. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that discipline is like tuning a musical instrument. If the strings are pulled too tightly, they become brittle and snap under pressure, but if they're too loose, they produce no sound at all. Imagine holding a guitar. If the strings are wound so tightly that they're nearly breaking, the music that emerges is sharp and harsh, a discordant cacophony. Eventually, the string will inevitably snap, rendering the instrument useless. On the other hand, if the strings are left slack and loose, no beautiful melody can ever emerge, and the guitar remains silent. Your mind, your body, and your life are no different. Pushing too hard and you risk breaking, doing too little and you never grow. Some people relentlessly chase success with an almost frantic energy, working endlessly, ignoring their physical health, neglecting their relationships, and sacrificing their inner peace. They falsely convince themselves that constant struggle is equivalent to genuine progress. But think of a candle burning too brightly, too quickly. It shines brilliantly for a fleeting moment, but quickly burns out, leaving only darkness behind. On the other hand, some people fall into a state of quiet complacency, waiting endlessly for motivation to magically appear. They desire change, but never take a single step towards it, remaining trapped in their comfort zone. And so, time slips by, leaving behind only regret and unrealized potential. Because time does not wait for anyone, it moves relentlessly forward, whether you choose to act or remain standing still. True discipline is not found in these extremes, it lives in the middle way, the path of balance. It is the quiet commitment to rise each day and do what needs to be done, patiently, mindfully, and with clear purpose. It is knowing when to push yourself forward with determined effort and when to rest and replenish your energy. It is knowing when to act with strength and courage and when to sit in stillness and contemplation. A disciplined mind understands that real, lasting growth is not born from self-punishment or relentless striving. It is born from balance, from a harmonious integration of effort and rest. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Are you pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion, mistaking self-destruction for ambition? Or are you holding back, waiting for the perfect moment to begin, letting fear paralyze your potential? Remember to subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth so you can continue to stay on a path of learning. To find your true strength, find your balance. Begin creating a daily routine that honors both effort and rest, integrating periods of focused productivity with moments of mindful relaxation. Work with intention and unwavering focus, but remember to set clear boundaries, protecting your time and energy. Push your body to grow stronger through exercise, but nourish it with equal care through healthy eating and adequate rest. Train your mind with discipline, but offer it moments of stillness to heal and regenerate. Lasting success is never built on a single day of extreme action. It is built upon small, consistent efforts, repeated mindfully day after day. Ask yourself today, where in my life am I currently out of balance? If you find yourself constantly tired and overwhelmed, perhaps it is time to slow down, to prioritize rest and self-care. If you find yourself always waiting for the perfect moment to begin, perhaps it is time to start moving, to take that first small step forward, however imperfect it may feel. Remember, discipline is not about doing more, it is about doing what truly matters with steadfastness, without breaking yourself along the way. Find your balance, and there you will find a strength that endures, a resilience that allows you to navigate the challenges of life with grace and unwavering purpose. Lesson 5. Release attachment. Your true enemy isn't pain. Pain is woven into the very fabric of life. It arrives and departs like the seasons, sometimes sharp and biting like winter's chill, sometimes gentle and melancholic like autumn's fading warmth, but always, inevitably passing. Suffering, however, is a different story entirely. Suffering is not pain itself, it is the burden we choose to carry long after the initial pain has visited. At its very root lies one silent, often unacknowledged force: attachment. We cling so tightly to people, to our cherished dreams, to our rigid expectations of how life should unfold, and when life inevitably changes course, we are left feeling shattered, not by life itself, but by our own resistance to it. But pause for a moment, and ask yourself, what if pain was never the true problem? What if suffering arises not from the inherent pain of life, but from your own stubborn refusal to let go? Buddhist wisdom teaches us that attachment is like gripping a burning coal. The tighter you hold on, the deeper it burns. Imagine holding a glowing ember in the palm of your hand. The searing pain strikes instantly, a primal signal that something is wrong. But instead of instinctively releasing it, you grip it even harder, foolishly believing that your stubbornness will somehow ease the burn. It doesn't. The pain only deepens, intensifying with each passing moment. This is precisely what attachment does to us. When we refuse to release what is already slipping away, when we stubbornly cling to what is no longer serving us, we create wounds that could have healed if only we had chosen to let go. Reflect on your life today. What are you holding on to that continues to cause you pain? Perhaps it's a relationship that no longer nourishes your soul, leaving you feeling drained and unfulfilled. Or maybe it's an old identity, a version of yourself you've outgrown yet refuse to release, clinging to a past that no longer defines you. Perhaps it is an unrealistic expectation that life should have unfolded according to your carefully laid plans, and the disappointment of reality not matching your expectations leaves you feeling bitter and resentful. The tighter you grip, the more you suffer. But true freedom begins the moment you consciously loosen your hold, choosing to release what is causing you pain. Detachment is not coldness, nor is it indifference. It is the deep understanding that nothing in this world truly belongs to us. Not people, not material possessions, not even our own fleeting emotions. Everything is temporary, constantly changing, and it is this very impermanence that makes life so precious. Yes, pain will inevitably come, loss is an intrinsic part of being human, life will not always move according to your carefully crafted will. But suffering arises only when you resist what is, when you stubbornly expect love to remain unchanged, when you falsely believe that happiness should be permanent, when you tie your worth to things that were never meant to stay forever. But once you learn the art of letting go, peace gently follows, like a soft rain after a long drought. Remember to click that like button. Practice detachment not by abandoning love or ceasing to strive for meaningful goals, but by releasing your deep-seated need to control outcomes, surrendering to the flow of life. Begin small. Each day, consciously let go of just one expectation. If someone doesn't reply to your text message, accept it without spiraling into self-doubt. If your meticulously crafted plans unexpectedly shift, adapt with grace instead of frustration. When fear whispers to you that you need something to be happy, gently challenge that voice, reminding yourself that true happiness comes from within, not from external circumstances. The less you cling, the freer you become. Ask yourself today, what am I gripping so tightly that it burns me with suffering? Whatever it is, begin to consciously loosen your hold. Trust in this simple, yet profound truth: what is meant to stay will remain, and what is meant to leave was never truly yours to keep. Remember, your peace is not born from control, it is born from surrender. Let go, and you will finally feel what it means to be truly free. Lesson 6: Embrace emptiness, creating space for true clarity. Your mind is like a room. When it is crowded with noise, cluttered with distractions, and filled with unnecessary thoughts, it becomes nearly impossible to find what truly matters. Lost in the chaos of overthinking, paralyzed by self-doubt, and bombarded by constant stimulation, you forget the quiet strength that lives within you, the deep well of wisdom that lies buried beneath the mental clutter. But what happens when you clear the clutter, when you deliberately remove what no longer serves you, and allows stillness to enter? Suddenly, clarity appears. You can see with fresh eyes, unburdened by the weight of the past. You can think with calm intention, no longer pulled in 100 different directions by racing thoughts. You can finally breathe, experiencing a sense of spaciousness and peace that had previously been obscured. Understand this: emptiness is not a loss, it is the silent beginning of something far greater. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that the mind is like a crowded room. Empty it, and you will find what you truly seek. Picture yourself stepping into a room overflowing with random objects, papers scattered everywhere, furniture piled high, and trinkets crammed into every corner. You're searching for something important, something of true value, but it's buried beneath layers of things that don't matter, lost in the overwhelming chaos. This is what an undisciplined mind feels like: heavy, chaotic, filled with distractions, regrets, worries, and endless noise. Now, imagine walking into the same room, but it is open and spacious. The floor is clear, the shelves are empty, and sunlight pours in without obstruction, illuminating every corner. You move freely, breathe deeply, and see clearly. In that space, you find exactly what you need, effortlessly locating the item you were searching for. We fill our minds just as we fill our lives with distractions, material possessions, attachments, and unnecessary burdens. We convince ourselves we need constant social media feeds, endless notifications pinging throughout the day, and constant comparisons to others. These are all forms of mental clutter that obscure our inner wisdom and prevent us from experiencing true peace. We hoard old fears and negative thoughts the way we hoard broken objects in forgotten drawers, cluttering our mental space with things that no longer serve us. Remember to like or subscribe to the Buddhist Doctrine channel, and continue to learn. But real clarity is not created by adding more, it is revealed when you begin to let go, when you deliberately create space for it to emerge. Reflect for a moment on your daily life. How much of your precious mental energy is spent on things that do not truly nourish your soul? How much time do you waste worrying about what is gone, feeling anxious about what hasn't yet arrived, and carrying the weight of opinions that hold no true meaning? What if you consciously chose to create space instead? What if, instead of automatically reacting to every thought that arises, you allowed stillness to enter its place, observing your thoughts without judgment or attachment? This is the quiet power of emptiness. It is not a void to fear, but a field of infinite potential, waiting to bloom. Begin small. Declutter your physical environment by removing one object that serves no purpose, creating a small pocket of open space. Declutter your mind by consciously releasing one thought that burdens you, letting go of the mental weight you've been carrying. Each day, set aside a few minutes to deliberately let go of something, a commitment that drains your energy, a resentment that poisons your peace, or a fear that no longer protects you. Make space for peace, make space for focus, make space for what truly matters to your soul's journey. You do not need to fill every moment with noise. You do not need to keep every thought that enters your mind. Remember this: the strongest minds are not those that hold the most information, they are those that have mastered the quiet discipline of letting go. Ask yourself today, what is one thing I can release right now to create space within me? In that emptiness, you will discover the clarity and peace you've been seeking all along. Lesson 7: Action is the only true therapy. The mind has a clever way of keeping us stuck, of subtly preventing us from taking the necessary steps to improve our lives. It calls it thinking, and it involves building endless scenarios, meticulously weighing every possible outcome, and convincing you that you need more time, more certainty, and more preparation before you can finally act. But in truth, overthinking is simply fear disguised as wisdom. It feels like progress, but it ultimately leads only to paralysis, preventing you from moving forward. Each time you hesitate, self-doubt grows stronger, eroding your confidence and dimming your inner light. Every moment lost to endless analysis is a moment that could have moved your life forward, a missed opportunity to grow and evolve. Ask yourself, what if, instead of endlessly thinking about action, you simply acted? What if you consciously chose to take that first step, even if it felt imperfect or scary? Buddhist wisdom tells us that action is like a river. It makes its way by moving ahead, never by staying still. Picture a river flowing through a valley. It doesn't stop to question if the rocks are too big or if the way forward is unclear. It simply keeps moving, adapting to the terrain, shaping its path with quiet determination, and eventually reaching its destination. But what happens to water that stops moving? It becomes still and stale, losing its freshness and vitality. Your mind works the same way. When you hold back from acting, your thoughts start to stagnate, breeding fear instead of fostering growth. Many people wait for the right moment, the right feeling, or perfect confidence to magically show up, believing that they need to feel fully prepared before they can take action. But perfection is just an illusion, a cleverly disguised form of procrastination that keeps you stuck in your comfort zone. The only way to gain real confidence, find true clarity, and change your life is by taking action, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, but right now, in this very moment. Think for a moment about something you've been thinking about too much, a dream you keep putting off because fear or doubt keeps whispering in your ear, a goal you long to pursue but hesitate to begin. Ask yourself honestly, what's the worst that could happen if I take action today? And what's the best that could happen if I stop waiting and simply begin? The mind will always find reasons to wait, conjuring up excuses and potential obstacles, but waiting only adds to your pain, perpetuating the cycle of inaction. Picture two people standing at the edge of a cold river. One stays still, studying the water, worrying about how cold it is, and waiting to feel brave before taking the plunge. The other takes a deep breath and steps in. The cold shocks them for a moment, but then they begin to swim, feeling alive and invigorated, embracing the challenge with newfound energy. The message here is clear: the only way to beat fear is to face it head-on. Discipline isn't about endless planning, it's about conscious, deliberate action. It's about taking the next step, even if it's small, even if it's not perfect, because only action brings change, only movement allows you to progress. Remember to like or subscribe for more videos and content. Every great success you admire started with someone who took the first step before they felt fully ready. Keep this in mind: it's far better to take 10 imperfect steps forward than to stay stuck in the same place, paralyzed by fear. Even failure moves us forward, providing valuable lessons and insights. Even mistakes teach us something new, helping us to refine our approach and grow wiser. But doing nothing teaches nothing, leading only to stagnation and regret. A mind that won't act is like a blade left sitting in water. It rusts, it gets weaker, and it loses its edge, becoming dull and ineffective. So start today. Begin small. Make one choice without overthinking it. Take one step that brings you closer to where you want to go. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to happen. Because clarity doesn't come from thinking alone, it comes from doing, from engaging with the world and learning through experience. Ask yourself right now, what is one thing I keep thinking about too much instead of acting on? And what's really stopping me from taking that step today? Embrace the power of returning to your breath again. This is the art of returning. Your real strength lies in starting again, in refusing to be defined by your setbacks and continuing to move forward with unwavering purpose. The people you look up to are not those who never failed, they are the ones who kept coming back to their purpose, no matter how many times they fell, refusing to let failure define their worth. Because each time you return, your spirit grows stronger, your resilience deepens, and you become more aligned with your true self. So, when you lose focus, gently come back to your breath, anchoring yourself in the present moment. When fear clouds your vision, consciously return to your courage, reminding yourself of your strength and potential. When doubt holds you back, resolutely return to your action, taking that next step forward with unwavering determination. Remember, falling is not the end, staying down is a choice. Your real power lies in rising again, in choosing to keep moving forward, no matter what challenges you face. Conclusion: today, you've seen that discipline isn't about being harsh or restrictive, it's about finding balance, about cultivating a harmonious relationship with your mind and body. You've learned that true freedom doesn't come from stubbornly holding on, but from gracefully letting go, surrendering to the flow of life. You've discovered that action, not overthinking, is the bridge to your real power, allowing you to manifest your dreams and create the life you desire. And you've come to understand that your mind can be both your biggest challenge and your greatest friend, depending on how you choose to guide it. Don't just admire these teachings, live them. They are steps to walk, breaths to take, and choices to follow each and every day, transforming your life through conscious intention. Because in the end, your life will be shaped not by what you know, but by what you do, by the actions you take each day to cultivate a life of purpose, peace, and fulfillment. Subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth, so you can stay tuned for more helpful videos. If this video touched your heart and sparked a desire for positive change, just imagine what's waiting for you in the next one. Subscribe now and join our growing community on this journey of returning to your calmest, strongest, and most authentic self. Share in the comments what is one fear, attachment, or limiting thought you're ready to let go of today to make space for peace within. Like, share, and subscribe so these transformative teachings can continue to guide you every day, empowering you to live a more meaningful and fulfilling life. And remember, your journey to mastering your mind doesn't begin tomorrow, it begins right now, in this very moment, with the conscious choice to take action. Thank you for joining us on Wisdom and Wealth, where we empower you to live a richer, more fulfilling life, one conscious choice at a time.